Hello, everyone. I am so excited to talk to you today about the Akashic Records. Now, before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, how I came into the records, and then we'll cover what are the records, what can we expect when we go into the records, and why we should work together in your exploration of the Akashic Records. And so my name is Vanessa Codorniu. I am a bilingual Latinx Bruja, clinical hypnotherapist, energy worker, writer for Be Latina News, and founder of the School of the Healing Artes. I grew up in a spiritual home and started reading folks at 16, not for pay, but just as an extension of service for family and the community. And at 22, became a professional psychic. I had other jobs, but that was part of the work that I was doing. And I was called out, sent out to Boston, to other big cities for big events. And over time, what I realized was that while readings were amazing and we can go through a lot of changes when we're doing readings or when we're receiving readings, I realized that a lot of us continue patterns. So I started studying hypnosis, clinical hypnotherapy. I studied violet flame, chakra work, crystal work, astrology from a very young age, and really used the tarot as a evolutionary process for my growth. Now, several years ago, I think it was like 6 years ago, I was doing my tarot reading, and I already had experiences where I had left my tarot somewhere and had to show up to an event and basically had to just sit there, start a prayer, and then just read the person, right? And that's how I started when I was 16. I read from connected through a Ouija board, but then after that, I would just do a prayer and receive the information. And so after 20 years of being a tarot reader, a professional tarot reader, I heard about the Akashic Records Soul Journeys program that was created by Jennifer Longmore. So I signed up to work with it was Alicia House, and I loved her. She's awesome and wonderful. And she shares it through Your Soul Story. I think it's yoursoulstory.com. And she was a student of Jennifer Longmore. And so in the training, what I realized was a couple of things. One, that we're always connected to Akashic Records. A lot of times we're connecting to the Akashic Records without really knowing we're connecting to the Akashic Records, but it's those instances where we know without knowing how we know, right? Very clearly and objectively. And so I was like, oh, I've been in the records before. So that's a realization I had when I did the class. The class was about 12 hours over a period of 2 days. And we were guided with a lot of patience, a lot of kindness, a lot of love and structure, right? Because the thing is, we're all spiritual. We are all have access to our inner knowing, to our Akashic records, to our guides and angels. Sometimes we lack structure. And I would say that we need structure because we're in a body. We're in a time continuum. We have the same hours 24/7, right? We have to balance being human, eating, going to work, paying our bills, doing what we do. And so some people say to me, well, I'll just learn the Akashic Records on my own. If it works for you that way, please do it. But for me, in that moment of being really busy, I already had a business online, right? I'd been doing my work probably already over 18 years when I came to the Akashic Records, the Soul Journeys training. And so I was already an expert in my fields, but I was like, you know what? I'm always learning. Let's do this. And so I went in and it was really wonderful because, of course, my guides were like, hello, V, we've already been here. We know how to do this. You know how to do this. But what I loved about the Soul Journeys method, again, that it was a structure and it taught you different ways. One, first, the one way how to connect, right? And there are many ways to connect, but it's very simple. And then going in and making connection with your guides, conscious connection with your guides without trancing out, right? Because sometimes we close our eyes and we trance out. This is a very conscious connection. We learn how to heal. I learned how to manage my records, right? And I also learned how to heal, to manage them, to manifest in the records, and to read them for myself first. Then in the next programs, I learned how to read for others, et cetera, and then how to be a teacher. The thing that I love about the Akashic Records, not only is that we all have access, but the thing is though that it puts a tool into your hands for healing. So with tarot, you read it, you react to it, you sense it, you feel its truth, it can support you into healing. And the Akashic Records, you actually open the records. You can have a multi-sensory experience. Not everybody has that, but I have. You can have a holographic experience. I read holographically, like I have information coming through here, information coming through here, and something coming through here. And that's how it moves for me. Right. So when I usually open the records, I have to be like, hold on over there, ancestors, wait, I got to talk to the main guide. That's what happens. And so I like that we're all connected. I like that there are different experiences for everyone. So whatever you're ready for, if you're ready to hear, you wind up getting auditory information. If you're ready to see it, so clairvoyance, cognizance, clair audience, clair sentience are all the clairs that play into being able to access and read the Akashic records. Now, the Akashic records, I'm talking about them, but I haven't defined them, are the library of the soul. They are the records of every action, every lifetime that you've had, every doubt, every purpose, and every lifetime of every lifetime. And so when you have access to the records and you go and you open them in your home, in your car, while you're not driving, please, in your bath, trust me, I've done some healings in the bath because, I love water. And you open the records and you talk to your guides who've been with you from every lifetime. So they're like, wait a minute, you already went through this in the last lifetime, or you're not going to die the way you did in the other lifetime. So don't worry, become public, Vanessa, right? Because I had a lot to work through. As a tarot reader who was already having a successful business online, when I went into the records, I discovered and understood that I was quite afraid of stepping into a bigger arena, of being seen by more people. Yet my heart wanted to serve as many people as I could. And so one of the things that the Akashic Records helped me work with my teacher, right, during class, because when we teach the class, we actually work with students to clear away whatever obstacles are coming up, but also with myself. So I was able to clear backaches that were affecting me because of the idea of I've got to do everything myself, right? I realized that. There were a couple of thought patterns that I was carrying from life to life, like it's better to guide from a hidden space. No one needs to know who I am. These were things that were playing out in my business. Now, look, I was already supporting myself. I was already successful, right? But in a contained way. I'd be like, no more than 15 people in my class. No, and so therefore I only got 15 people. I was still making six figures when I went in to study the Akashic Records, but I wasn't reaching all the folks I wanted. In the records themselves, I was able to go to the lifetimes, right? To the lifetimes that were still weighing on me, that were still affecting me, that were still impacting my present life as Vanessa. And I was able to release them. I was able to accept that that's what happened in that lifetime and really truly be myself safely. And I think that's what a lot of us are dealing with. A lot of us who want to be seen in this work or have a purpose or a mission where we were born to step in and do this like full out. We're like taking steps and we're like, ooh, and we're taking steps and then we're pulling back. Or we're like, well, I'm seen up to this level and then pulled back. And so in the Akashic Records, I was able to do work on my own. So I did work. We're taught in the course how to do inner child work, right? So we can get, and people will be like, I already did inner child work, because I thought that too when I flipped to the manual. I'm like, well, I've already done that. Well, guess what? Beginner's mind is really important. Showing up as if, yes, we've done things, but there's always more to do. And I was able to clear things from my teenage years, my infancy, that directly impacted my love life, directly impacted my quality of relationships and friends, and even the state of that I was still single, though I dated a lot and had a lot of partners, but not the actual committed relationship that I wanted. And so doing the Akashic Records 6 years ago, not only opened up paths for me to be seen more. So right after I did the training and worked on myself, I started showing up on Facebook at the time when the algorithms were better. And I started sharing videos every day, like a couple of minutes. And within a year or so, I had 44,000 followers. It was organic reach because I had released this idea that I only wanted to be seen by a small group of people, right? And so these fears that we're carrying, these energetic patterns from life to life or ancestral patterns, they're very obvious when you go into the records. And there are processes that can be done to release them. Now, I also release them through hypnosis. So that's a completely different process. When someone's really ready, like on the edge, and they're like, boom, guide me, we could do that in the Akashic records, right? And sometimes folks are like, no, I don't know if I'm totally ready. And then we could work through the hypnosis path. And so with the Akashic records, I mean, it's up and opened up so much for me that I also got over my fear of just showing up and saying a prayer on Facebook and Instagram and just reading people. So I've actually been doing that all my life, but I held back because I always use cards, right? Because cards are visible. Like you could see the pretty card and then you see the Empress and you're like, bounty, or be who you are, or the Hermit, you need time alone. And that's all beautiful and well and good. And I know that people do that really well. But my spirit said, you've got to just show up and just share. It comes up. And when I did that, it not only validated who the F I am through centuries, right? I am an oracle, I am a healer, I'm a teacher, I'm a guide. It set me free to step into even more of myself. And so I'm sharing this almost as a testimonial to the process, but I love this course so much. And that's why I love to teach it, because it helped me step into greater visibility. It helped me to be really relaxed. And even though I'm excited to reach more people and I'm excited to be seen more, and there's always a little bit of nerves, but it's not a fear. I don't fear them going to be harmed. The truth is that most of us carry in our ancestry from many lineages, maybe, or a specific one, memories, energetic patterns of hiding for our own good, right? Because we've been burned at the stake, 400 years of that in Europe. We've been tortured, taken from Africa, taken from Latin America, or enslaved in Latin America, or put down and oppressed, or kids were taken from our ancestral lineages, like in Australia, North America, South America, in situations of indigenous families. And so there's a lot of history that we may have ancestrally. There's also a lot of history we may have in our past lives. And what's really cool is that most guides are pretty hilarious. Like I've worked with so many people training them that, they could be a little harsh sometimes, but fun. They could be a little hilarious. You're never going to find an Akashic record keeper that's really, really going to be too forceful or mean. And if you do, then check yourself, check them, because it may not be an Akashic record keeper. It may be an extension of your ego. It may be a soul attachment. It may be some other energy or entity trying to boss you around. The beauty of the Akashic record keepers are guides that incarnated. Well, no, let me go back. We are all connected to source. We are a part of source. A lot of us have felt, and I know that I have, that somehow I was forgotten on planet Earth, by my people, and I had to kind of adapt and survive. What I realized, though, over the years is that we're not disconnected from our source. We are extensions of source. We're extending from source. And in that extension of source, as we incarnate into life to life to life, we have to have that amnesia so we can have the life fully and remember who we are, right? And really show up for our karma and our dharma, right? Those patterns of injustices that we've incurred on others, or gifts that we are here to receive, or even that beautiful gift of the goodness that we've experienced in other lifetimes that come through as blessings in this lifetime as well. And so we have to forget kind of like who we are so we can remember truly who we are through getting through these challenges, getting through these patterns, through releasing everything that we are not. And so your Akashic record keeper has been with you through all the amnesia, through every life, and they have a sense of humor. A lot of times when I'm doing readings and other people are doing readings, guides are like, hey, don't take it so seriously. Yes, it's important for you to fulfill your purpose, but have some fun, people. And that's the thing. Some of us, I know that me, I can speak for myself, that I've taken my spiritual path so seriously. I mean, I initiated in a spiritual path at 23 years old, right? That's a long ass time ago, right? And so I wrote a letter to the universe at 19 and I said, hey, use me as an instrument for change and transformation and healing. And I thought it was going to be through the avenue of the arts and self-expression. But guess what? It is self-expression because here I am speaking, right? And all the videos and all the work and the courses that I create or teach from other teachers who've created them. And so just know that your Akashic records are part of who you are. They've always been with you. Finding a trusty process to access them, I think, is really important. It's been key for me to grow my visibility, to release past life love trauma, because I had some past life love trauma. I just got married in July of 2021. And I've been proposed to many times and had tons of relationships and love many people who are soulmates. And yet, and I came to the records and I'm like, hey, what's going on here? People are attracted to me, I'm attracted to them. I meet my soulmates, and then it all falls apart. And I was able to go in there and clear. And so that's what I love about learning the Akashic Records. Even if you're not planning to be a reader, if you're not planning on being a consultant, or you don't want to add it to your offerings as a coach or another type of consultant, it is an amazing tool because honestly, I'm not that kind of person that is going through something and is like, oh, damn, I have to wait 3 months for my reader to see me. I'm just not like that. I don't know how you are, but I'm not. And so, I mean, not that I'm saying I won't book somebody out because I will, right? I have a reader that I like book out sometimes once a year. I like to get a little check in, right? Because I think it's fun too. I am also very much a person who likes to have tools in my hand and be self empowered to take action and not wait for anything or anyone. Of course, divine timing kicks in and you can't rush the process, but I want to have that tool so I can go in there and be like, okay, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. How am I going to work it? What do I need to do? And asking the right questions is really important in the records. And that's what we're going to learn, right? Because a lot of people, when they're thinking about love, they're like, oh, what's going on with Jamie or Anna or Tony or Maria? What's going on and why isn't it working? When the better question is more like, what do I need to know about my ability to receive love and give love? What patterns have I brought into this life that may be affecting my current relationship? What do I need to shift in order to receive and give and exist in the love that I'm actually wanting to receive and give and live into? And so these are just, some brief things because a lot of people will come in and be like, oh, my business is not working because I'm not the right look and I don't have enough money and I don't have this and I don't have that. Think about it. Those are all exterior things. Now, there are real things. We are dealing with systemic oppression. We're dealing with systemic racism. We're dealing with a world that is favored towards white supremacy and white centered. So these are things that are real. We're not going to bypass that in everyday life. And we're not going to bypass that, at least I'm not, in the records, right? And there are still things that we can do to shift our experience and support us in healing, even when dealing with oppressive systems, where we can manifest opportunities that can open up ways of healing and being able to be supported in our own emancipation. And so the Akashic Records, if used properly, if worked with properly, does not spiritually bypass, it does not blame you for your situation. It gives you tools to allow yourself to receive support and healing and clearing so you can understand some situations better and you can heal them and show up in the world as more of your true self and your true desire and less of what you've been told you are, who you think you are based on trauma and experiences that you've had in life. And so I found that it's just really, really supportive. So I just want to talk about the Akashic Records a little bit. That's all. And I came in and what happens in a reading. So if you were to book a reading with me, what happens is you fill out the little, Gen book and you get the little email back. We could do Zoom, we could do a call. And I'm not going to ask you too many questions. I'm going to say, hi, let's say it's Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, or Janika. Hey, Janika, how are you? Let me share what we're going to do. And I basically help us ground, help us connect to the energy, ask for permission, say a prayer, and then begin to share what's coming up. And after it comes up, I ask if it resonates, right? And from there, I ask the person to share, to ask their questions. And if I need to restructure the question so they get the answer, right, that they're really truly needing, I will, usually in my head. And I don't usually speak out the questions. And then the work comes through. And sometimes in the Akashic Records, you're going to find extraterrestrial presences. You're going to find presences that have never incarnated. You're going to find even mare people, fairies. You're going to find elementals, right? That's the elves and gnomes. And you're also going to find some ancestors who come through. They could be recent ancestors, so sometimes it becomes mediumistic, right? And sometimes it's ancestors you don't even know about. And then people call me later, they're like, oh my God, you were right. I did my DNA and I found out about this. I did not know about it. And so there's so many possibilities. So I invite you to, if you've been curious, to work with me and book a reading. And even more than that, I invite you to explore the Akashic Records for yourself, because it's been truly life-changing. So I'm sending y'all so much love, and I'll see you on a session. I'll see you in class.